Hi, today I'm going to try to teach you as quickly as possible how to play Survive in Balkan. What is important to know is that there are two videos. One is for the setup and the other one is for how to play. There will be timestamps in case you already watched the video and you just want to remember a certain rule, you can look it up. Other than that, what is important to know is that in how to play there are two modes. One is the introductory mode and the other one is the original full strategic mode. For the first time, I recommend trying out the introductory mode, and then if you already managed to beat the game a couple of times, and you like more strategic experience, I recommend going for the full strategic mode. However, for the first time, you don't have to watch the whole video, it's enough just to learn how to play the introductory mode itself. So let's begin. To play Survive in Balkan, you have to take care of your family events. Basically, at the beginning of month, you have to draw one family event and read it out loud for the whole group. This is a common goal that you as a group will try to achieve. It basically constitutes of certain resources that have to be collected and then given a certain tile or generally be available at the house. Each card describes its own task, so you can just read them and follow them quite easily. If you successfully complete the family event, then you go to the next second month and you draw another one. And then you have to work on that one as well. And in a 3-month game, you will have a total of 3 family events. If you successfully complete all 3 of them, you emigrate to Austria. Congratulations, you have won the game. The only other requirement to emigrating to Austria besides completing family events is taking care of your happiness. And we can do that by taking care of our personal events. Personal events are usually constructed in the opposite of what family needs. So each week and each turn you will have to carefully balance, will you help out your family or will you help out yourself? If you don't help your family, you as the group may not manage to complete the family event, which may lead to a loss in the game. On the other hand, if you're not taking care of your family events, you may lose a lot of happiness. Basically, each family event is worth 5 happiness. So by the end of 3rd month, if you have completed 1 family event and 2 of them you have not completed, you will lose 10 happiness. If you completed 2, but you didn't complete 1, you will lose just 5 happiness. So you have to carefully manage what you can complete and what you cannot complete. But all the calculations are done at the end of 3rd month, not before. That obviously, like I said, means that you have time to space them out. You can do them in the 1st, 2nd or 3rd month, all of them, or you can do them 1 per month, however you want or however it fits you. Even in the last month, if the family has completed all family events, but you have happiness below 0, while other family members have it at 0 or more, it would mean that they have emigrated to Austria and won the game, while you remain in Balkans and lost the game. So please take care of your happiness seriously. Okay, now that we have explained the personal events and family events, let's see how to actually play. Now, I want to say that this game is based on my life and it's a small satire on the stereotypical Balkan family during 2000s. So please keep that in mind when we go over stuff, because there will be a lot of humor built into the game. The turn order itself is quite patriarchal. We begin with father, then mother, son and daughter. In that turn order, we're going to play 1 turn each. So when the father, mother, son and daughter finish their turns, we will complete 1 week and go to the next week. When we complete 4 weeks, the month is over. And that's basically how much time we have to complete family events. So when it's your turn, you have up to 2 movements, orthogonal movements, so diagonally would count as 2, and 1 action and 1 mini action. Let's dive a little bit deeper into it. Because I'm father, I will begin first, which means also that I have access to the complete resources available at the home tile. Now, I could take all of them for myself and then leave my family members with nothing, but that's not the best strategy, definitely. So I'm just going to take a couple of hundred of money, 1 or 2 gas, and a couple of food tokens. What is important to know is that I have up to 2 movements, so 2 orthogonal movements, diagonal counts as 2, and I can move anywhere I want. I also have 1 action and 1 mini action. So basically I could do my action as the first thing and then move up to 2. I could move once, then do an action, or move twice, then do an action. Any combination of the 2 will do the work. Same goes with the mini action as well. At the beginning as a strategy, I recommend actually doing location actions and collecting resources for your family events. As you get a little bit better with the game and more familiar, you can also start working on your personal events immediately. But for now, let's push that for next month. So I'm going to start by moving myself 2 tiles, 1, 2. And with that, I'm at the end of my movements. But I have gas token, which actually allows me to move one extra tile for each gas token that I spend. So if I would to spend 2 tokens, I could move additional 2 tiles. At the coffee shop, we are going to do a location action, which is actually quite simple. In the top right corner, it says what resources we have to pay in order to get what is to be found in the top left corner. In the coffee shop, top right corner is quite empty. So the only thing we have to take care of is what we are getting, which is 800 money in this case. We're going to take those 800 and put them on our personal board. All the money that we are getting or earning as other resources as well are coming to our personal board and are part of us. We can always share the stuff from personal board with other players as long as we are one tile within each other or on the same tile. Or there is another possibility. If we are on the Balkan post, we can use a mini action to send as many resources as we want to one other personal board for 100 money. Now, if we were to simulate what Mother would do, she could, for example, want to earn some gas. So she could take 400 from home, go to the gas station because it's within 2 movements, spend 800, get 400 back, obviously, and earn 3 fuel for herself. That happens basically because we see in the top right corner there is minus 400 and in the top left there is plus 3 gas. And that's basically how location actions work. Now it only remains for us to explain how personal event actions work and family event actions as well. Personal event actions are quite simple. In the text that you see, if you don't want to read throughout the situation, you can look up for the bolded locations. And each card will have one. Then look up for the bolded resources. And those are the type of resources that you have to give in at this location. If you do that, that's it. You basically completed your personal event, and usually you will be rewarded with +1 happiness for yourself. That's great. Family events are not much more complicated than personal events. It's basically the same, it's just that there could be multiple bolded locations with multiple different resources that you have to give in. But the principle is still the same. You are looking up for the bolded locations with the bolded resources that you have to give in there. And that's it. Now we have covered 3 types of actions that you can do. The only thing that remains to say is that on your turn, you can only do one action. So you have to choose between doing location action, personal event action, and family action. Mini actions can always be done additionally to this action. So per turn, you always have one action and one mini action that you can do. And those are basically all the actions you can do in an introductory mode. In the original mode, you can do a couple of extra actions as well, but we will cover them later in the video. There is a small tip. At the beginning of the game, and if you're just starting to play Survive in Balkan, I wouldn't focus too much on knowing what exactly each location does, as it is not necessary in order to play the game. As you're playing through the game, you can look it up in the reference what each location can bring it to you if you are already not seeing the symbols that are familiar with you. Now, let's explain the reputation and knowledge, as those are also important aspects of the game. Reputation basically increases or decreases how much money you will earn when you work. So if the reputation were to be at 4.5 and I was father and I went to the coffee shop to work for my first week, instead of receiving 800, I would receive 700 money. If my reputation was as high as 7.5, instead of receiving 800, I would receive 900 money. And that goes for all family members, as the reputation is a shared resource within the family. So please take care of your reputation, as it can influence very much how the game is played. Other than that, we also have knowledge. Basically, at the end of each month, we have to bring knowledge up to 2. And if we do that, then perfect. We're losing 2 knowledge, as it's being spent at the end of the month, and there are no consequences for us. However, if we fail to get to the 2 of knowledge, then we would lose reputation collectively as a family, and each person will lose some happiness. More details can be looked up in the rule book or reference book, as they contain the exact numbers there. One more important thing about knowledge is that if it were at 3, at the end of month, we're losing just 2. So in the next month, we will start with 1 knowledge, which could be a huge advantage for us, as we would not need to go to school as much as in previous month. There are 2 locations that I want to go over before letting you go, as we have covered almost all the rules for playing introductory mode of the Survive in Balkan. One of them is Balkan Post, like I said. for paying 100, you can send as many resources as you want to some other personal board, which can be really good if you're on opposite sides and you need to share resources with your family members. And the other one, locations with minus happiness, like for example Kafana. In Kafana, if anybody but mother goes to Kafana and uses a location action, mother will immediately lose 1 happiness because father is, for example, drinking. The same goes with psychiater. For example, if anybody goes but son to psychiater, son will immediately lose 1 happiness because everybody will bore him at home about how he needs to treat his trauma. Now, if son himself goes to psychiatrist, no happiness will be lost. So that's also important aspect to consider when developing your strategy. And that's basically how you play introductory mode of Survive in Balkan. At the essence, it's a very simple game where you have to manage the resources and communicate a lot with your family members in order to understand what's going on and how to achieve the things most optimally. Okay, now to summarize everything, at the end of each month, you have to check if you fulfilled your family events and if the knowledge is at 2. If yes, then you continue, you lose the knowledge, or draw a new family event, reset, and continue the month. You're continuing the month from the places where you are. You're not resetting back to home. If you at any point get below 0, you have 1 extra turn to increase it to at least 0. That's also a very important rule that you need to know. Now, to introduce a more complex and strategic game mode, we are going to introduce 2 small changes. One of them is action cards. Additionally, at the beginning of each month, you will draw 6 action cards, and then those will constrain which tiles are available to you. So basically, if you don't have an action card with money symbol on it, you will not be able to go to the locations which will provide you money or which will let you earn money. In this way, you will be more constrained by your action cards, and you will have to delegate the resources collecting to your family members and rely on them much more. Besides that, if you really need certain type of resource and you don't have an action card, you can always use a default action, which basically means going to that location without an action card and getting a fixed amount of resource. For money, it would be 400 money. For food, it would be 2 kilograms. For gas, it would be 1 gas token. For knowledge, 0.5. Same for reputation, and same for happiness, 0.5. This is quite an efficient way to earn resources in this game, so I would strongly recommend that you do not do that unless it's really necessary to do so. What is also important for me to mention is that with the addition of more strategic game mode, you can add role powers. You can technically also add them to introductory mode if you wish, so they're to be found at the back of these personal boards, and you can read them and introduce them if you want. So, to summarize, you want to go to a certain location and do a location action. You have that action card that's necessary, and you can check the symbols on the location, which action cards are necessary for those. And you simply discard that action card and do the location action, collect the resources and pay some if you have to. Oh, very important, you always first pay the resources and then get the resources from that location. Second addition for the more strategic game mode is addition of wrangler cards, and they're also quite simple. Basically, once per month, you may get into a fight with your family members, and those are represented through wrangler cards. What is important for you is to look up the number that's written here. For example, this one starts with a 0, and then add the week you're in to that number. So for example, if we were in a week 1, I would have 1 plus 0, which would be total of 1. Then I would roll a die, and if I get a number higher than the total, I do not draw a card and I'm not fighting with anybody. However, if I would get the number, for in this case 1 or less, which is not possible, then I would draw the card and I would read it out. It usually represents, or not usually, in almost all cases, you're fighting with some of your family members, they're losing a happiness, and there is a new rule added for that month that is just for that family member that is hit by this wrangler card. If you already fought once with a certain family member this month, then you don't have to fight again. You don't draw again and you don't throw a die. However, if you manage to not fight within this month, then you will still check if you're supposed to fight now. It adds a little bit of unpredictability, and it's difficult to anticipate when certain event or certain fight will happen and how it will influence the game. So it always keeps you on your toes. And those are basically all the changes that are necessary for the more strategic game mode. I know it seems a little bit simple, but trust me, just the rules themselves can add a completely new experience, let alone with constraints with action cards. So you will really have to think ahead if you want to beat the game in this mode. I hope you enjoyed this quick tutorial. If you have any questions, leave them down below in the comment. I'll try to answer them as fast as possible. Thank you for watching.